Broadcasting from Slough. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Hello, welcome to episode 119 of the Atom Radio Best Bits of Breakfast podcast. Do hope you've had a absolutely fantastic week. I'm going to steal that phrase off of Mentor Pilot. How are you anyway? Saturday, as this podcast drops, I hope you're okay. I hope you have a great weekend as well. Make the most of the downtime. Do you know what? I'm recording this after Friday's show, and I am still buzzing from Friday's show. Some amazing tunes and a couple of awesome love stories as well, which you will hear in the podcast. This week we talk about snowman names, tunes that absolutely fit you, food and takeaways, an alarming fact about me, you'll get that pun in a moment as well, random smells, and we continued random into Friday as we spoke about random places where you found love or made friendships. All that and more is on the way in the Best Bits podcast for this week. AtomRadio.co.uk. Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio, loud and proud, from Slough, for Slough, and indeed for everywhere. Asking you this morning, and I love the first one in on this, if you built a snowman at the weekend, what did you call it? Or if you had to think of a name now for a snowman that you did build at the weekend, what would you call it? And I love this from Paul. We built a snowman yesterday, didn't think to name it. Thinking about it now, should have called it Boris, because it's wet and it does absolutely nothing. That's true.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
I was watching at the weekend a video on YouTube. It was from the Chris Moore Show, and they did a feature called Who Are You?, where somebody comes on and they have to guess who they are and what they do. This man was actually a professional whistler, because at the start of that song, that Steve Kroger song, there is actually whistling. This man's a professional whistler, and he did the TSB advert. And I don't know, I've seen that advert and I've heard it on the radio and stuff, and I've seen and heard it loads and loads of times. I never ever thought that there would be a professional whistler behind it. I just thought perhaps they'd got somebody who is a session musician or something just to whistle along to it, but apparently not.
Mark Denholm. AtomRadio.co.uk.
7:29 on a Tuesday. Mark Denholm at Atom Radio. We got the news headlines on the way for you in a moment, but Suzanne has now turned the table on me by saying, I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours, in response to song titles that would describe you. And I've thought about this carefully, right? I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to be presumptuous or anything like that. I just want to come up with an answer to the question that I ask you, because Suzanne has told me to come up with one. And I'm thinking, and it is one of the little jingle things that I use as well on here. I'm thinking perfectly suited to me, Iggy Pop, Real Wild Child, because that's me. I'm a fully grown adult, but I've just not grown up. I'm like a child in an adult's body. I think that's me. So I'm going with that. I'm sticking that on the table. Iggy Pop, Real Wild Child is mine. Suzanne, back over to you. Power Station, Some Like It Hot, on the way after the headlines at 7:30.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
22/28, Tuesday morning. Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio. I was about to take 2 days off your week then and announce it as Thursday, but it is actually Tuesday. You should never ever wish away time. But I would imagine a lot of people are thinking, get me to the end of this goddamn lockdown.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Morning then, 8:43, 17-9. In other words, I don't want to generalize here or stereotypicalize. Is that a word? I've just made it one if it isn't. Too much here. But have you noticed how young people fall in love, boom, like that nowadays? And by that, I don't mean like, you know, when you're a school child and you get your first girlfriend and you're like, what, 7, 8 years old, and you're like, I love her, I love him, and you don't know what it means. But I'm talking about people that are, say, like 18, 19, 20, who fall in love. Oh, my everything, he's my everything, she's my everything, and I can't live without them. And 6 months later, they've split up. Have you noticed that? I just thought I'd throw that out there as a general observation.
Mark Denholm.
First, though, it's been revealed yesterday Britain's top takeaway choices during lockdown 3.0, they've called it. It's fish and chips that's number one, followed by egg fried rice and pizza. Orders for fish and chips have increased by 330% this year compared to last year. Chippies are supplying 33% of all takeaway orders. Meanwhile, Britain's main favourite dish from an Indian takeaway is the chicken tikka. I do like a good chicken tikka, if I'm honest. I do. I tell you what I've not had all through lockdown, and this is quite depressing, really. I've not had a kebab. I do like a kebab, but I've not had one. And to be fair, I mean, there are certain things I would get that were takeaway, like fish and chips, or maybe an Indian takeaway, or perhaps a Chinese takeaway, but there are certain things I wouldn't get. Like, I know certain places doing online orders, aren't they, for roasts and stuff like that. I don't know that I would order a roast online. I'd rather, choose my own. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to mince my words. I'm talking about the Toby Carvery. I'd rather go up there, look at the meat, and then say, oh, I'd like some beef and some chicken, please. And then I can go and pick my own vegetables and, give my own amount of gravy and a bit of mint sauce. I'll never understand why the Toby has mint sauce, by the way, because I've never ever been there when they had lamb. But, for example, I would not order a takeaway roast dinner. I wouldn't order a takeaway steak or anything like that. So I'm guessing that these figures are therefore quite obvious.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Morning, Mel. I agree with you, Mark. I used to go out for dinner with my friends once a week, and I used to really look forward to it. But we would go to places like the Harvester or like the Toby, and we would order from there. I wouldn't really order that as a takeaway. So if I was getting a takeaway, I would just pop round the local chippy, and that's probably why the ratings are so high.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
And Claire has a shock story. I didn't know this. You could order a takeaway from the Harvester beforehand, but now that they've been forced to close their doors to paying customers actually coming in, it appears they've also cancelled their orders. I've not looked into this, but Claire said she went to order a Harvester last night, thought that she fancied one, went to order one. This service is currently unavailable. No.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
So, the Harvester, I've checked into this now, the Harvester is actually closed. I've gone on their website and I've gone to order a takeaway, and I get a message that says when you click order now, sorry, service unavailable. Ordering is currently unavailable. We will be back as soon as possible. That's not therefore good news for Liz. Liz has said, I'm really now fancying a Toby Carvery tonight with all this talk about food. Liz, you can't have one.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Do you know, my alarm is set for the morning, and yesterday I woke up before my alarm and I laid there for about maybe 10 minutes debating whether I should get up or whether I should try and just squeeze in another 40 minutes worth of sleep. And then before I could actually answer that, I fell back to sleep. I have two alarms set for the morning. They're 5 minutes apart. The first one went off and I thought, right, okay, I'll get up in 5 minutes. And then in between that and the second one, I'd managed to start dozing off again. And then when I did finally wake up, I was like, oh my word, do I feel groggy now this morning? I did not do that well.
Mark Denholm.
Morning then, Atom Radio at 7:22. It is Mark Denholm at breakfast. Joe Biden, the new president of the United States, held his first COVID team briefing yesterday, which obviously because of coronavirus was all remote and everything. However, it descended into chaos as the technology failed, including the chief doctor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, left on mute and no one could hear him at all. Not really off to a great start, that, is it?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Thursday morning, Atom Radio, Mark Denholm at breakfast till 10. Today, Andy Smith along after 10. We're asking you about smells. Tash got in touch on the email onair@atomradio.co.uk. Tash, can I just confirm You said that you loved the smell of the nappy sacks having just had your second child. And by the way, congratulations to you and whoever your mister is. Can I just confirm that that's before they're filled up?
Mark Denholm.
Morning then, do hope you're very well. 6:09, Friday, 29th of January 2021, as we come towards the end of the first month of a year that held so much progress and as yet hasn't really delivered any of it, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's lockdown 3, day 25 today, with that ongoing until at least, I would say, the 8th of March. So just get used to it, and we'll just keep counting it. Look at it this way. It's like being in a prison cell, isn't it? Or, you know, when you see marooned on a desert island and they like scratch the days into a tree, stuff like that. Has it got that desperate for you yet? Or are you okay? Like my tree is right down the end of the garden, and where it's winter, I just can't be bothered to walk that far. I mean, it's only about, 15 yards, but I just can't really be bothered to walk that far, given that the ground is all wet and everything. So, I'll just leave that, and I'll just manage to keep counting in my head, because that's the sensible thing to do.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
The strangest places that you have met someone that you've gone on to have a relationship with. And by that, I don't just mean, like you've gone on and got married. I'm talking about boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., but also friendship as well, maybe even besties, That's what I'm talking about. On air at atomradio.co.uk, you can send me the place where you met who is now either your friend or your other half. I do feel, actually, hang on, Karen has sent an email. I do feel, I just got to sort this out. Hold on, bear with me. Do feel that I should have the correct music on for this. Hold on, because this is so sweet, I think. Hang on. Yes, there we are. Karen has emailed me and said, I met my now husband 20 years ago in the supermarket. We were both heading for the bread aisle and there was only one loaf of brown bread left. We both wanted it. He said to me, no, you have it because it's the last one. So we got talking. I thanked him. We got talking and we walked around the shop together and we did the rest of our shopping together. Then we got to the checkout and he said to me, because they had a cafe in there, do you want to go grab a coffee? So we did. We went and we grabbed a coffee and it was all very, very, very nice. And then we exchanged numbers and we arranged a first date. First date led to the second date. And it turns out he really was as nice as the guy who let me have the loaf of bread as well, which is amazing. We've now been together for years and years, happily married, 3 children and a dog. And I would certainly recommend that as an okay way to meet someone if you would like to. I guess it doesn't always work out like that, though, does it? In the supermarket, you can't say it always works out that way, but it's nice when it does. And congratulations to you, Karen, and your husband and your 3 kids and your dog as well. Isn't that a lovely story? And I got to use that music as well. It's all good. It is Friday morning. If you have a story about how you met someone, on air at atomradio.co.uk, I'm looking for the most random places.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
This is from Becky, and she says, this is so embarrassing, but I just couldn't not share it with you. I met my boyfriend. We've been together now for 6 years. I met him when we were both waiting for MOTs for our cars, and mine didn't really do that well. He had gone outside for a smoke, mine had failed, and I'd just come outside with me fail certificate, and I was just bawling my eyes out because it had happened at a really bad time. And he just came over to me and he said, are you okay? And I just poured my heart out to him, like, my car's failed, this is wrong, that's wrong, it needs to be done, da. And he said to me, he said, look, he said, I know this is strange and that. He said, but I am a mechanic. Is there anything I can do to help? I can take a look at it for you, certainly. And anyway, we obviously swapped numbers. And later on, he messaged me and said, look, I might be being a bit upfront, but if there is anything I can do to help you with your car, then I will. So I let him, help with the car. And we ended up having, loads and loads of chat over messages. When eventually I thought, do you know what? I'm going to ask him out. And I did. And we've been together for ages now, and it's so nice And not only that, I don't have to worry about my car anymore now because my other half is a mechanic. That's true. You see, an added bonus there. It's always handy, isn't it? When your other half is very, very good at something. Like, for me, I can't do Christmas wrapping. I have a friend who's a mechanic, that's fine, but I can't do Christmas wrapping. So it's always handy when you have, say, another half who can do Christmas wrapping, but I can't, and I don't have another half either. But anyway, that's such a lovely story, Becky. I'm so glad it all worked out for you. And hopefully your car does now pass its MOT every year as well, because that's obviously very important too.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
I apologise to Andy Smith now. I am going to be late to his show. Sorry, Andy, but not sorry. Belinda Carlisle and I Get Weak. There is a story about that, right? As a young lad, I had a massive crush on Belinda Carlisle, and I'd managed to get tickets to go and see the Roxy being filmed. And this was like ITV's equivalent to Top of the Pops. Had no idea when I actually got told, yeah, you can come and it's going to be filmed this day. Had no idea Belinda Carlisle was going to be on it. And I was amazed and I was quite near the front and I loved it. atomradio.co.uk. Oh, come on. If those stories don't make you feel good about yourself. Like, they are true love stories that started from the really, really random places. There was one other as well that I've not put in the podcast as well. A guy called Christian did also email. Thank you, Christian, for your email if you listen to the podcast, saying that he matched with someone on Tinder. They've been together 9 months now. Tinder's not the random fact about that. The random fact about that, it wasn't the place, it was how. When he initiated conversation with her, she then just responded to every question, statement, whatever in his opening conversation with just emojis. And he just thought, do you know what? There is something about her. I'm going to take the chance. And he did. And they've been together for 9 months. So there you go. If you are single through this pandemic and thinking, yeah, do you know what? Like, love is avoiding me. Maybe it is while the pandemic is ongoing. But look at those love stories and Christian's more random story. And hopefully the future is bright ahead for you. That does wrap up episode 119 of the podcast. Thank you, as always, for your company. Thank you for listening. Check out the show from Monday and the podcast next week.
Atom Radio. Yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Coronavirus. Stay safe, stay well, stay indoors.
Mark Denham
With The Breakfast Show
on Atom Radio.
atomradio.co.uk